Be a good Muslim. Don't let this Western philosophy affect you. Know the truth. Know what life is really about, and study Islam. Just the only way to turn away from arrogance is to learn. Never stop learning. Never stop. Moving forward. Yeah.
A lot of people have this misconception that, once I feel closer to God, then I'm going to start practicing. It's backwards. You won't feel close to God until you start practicing. The Prophet ﷺ, there's a hadith Qudsi where he says that the most beloved acts of worship to God are those which he made obligatory. The person continues to get closer and closer to Allah. Key point, gets closer and closer by voluntary acts of good. So like sunnah, things, for the sake of Allah, things that are not obligatory, but you do them just to please Allah, until Allah begins to love the person. So two things. You want to feel close to Allah. You want Allah to love you. Do what Allah prescribes for you, which is fard. So praying, fasting, hajj, zakat, and ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And then on top of that, sunnah prayers, sunnah fasts, giving extra in charity, to the point where Allah will inshallah begin to love you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the Three Muslims podcast. We're your hosts, Rami, Faiyads, and Anghel. We are the realest podcast in the dunya, and if you like what you see, if you like what we are presenting today, inshallah, then make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and check out our Patreon. Today, we are joined with a very special guest, mashallah, Brother Arya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm very, very fine. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We see the beautiful night sky, mashallah.
It's night here.
MashaAllah. Perhaps we had Laylatul Qadr a few nights ago, maybe last night. Wallahu alam.
Yeah. It's like 2 hours till Fajr. So.
Oh, really? Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
Yeah.
I hope you're eating that suhoor, inshallah, beforehand. MashaAllah. So first and foremost, I know you have some very particular stances on certain philosophies, Western philosophies. But first, let me ask, where do you live right now?
I'm currently living in Kurdistan. So Kurdistan is a part of Iraq. In reality, it shouldn't be, but because of Britain after World War II, colonized us and it split up Kurdistan into 4 parts. Ali Dawa is Kurdish part of the Turkish part, like Kurdish in the Turkish part. I'm in Kurdish of the Iraq part.
Oh, okay, I see. And what are the other 2?
In the Iran and Syria.
Okay, mashallah. So
yeah.
So first and foremost, when it comes to colonialism and certain places being colonized by the West, what are the negative impacts you think that had on your people and people around the globe?
Yeah, people forget their Islam. Like, we are supposed to be a Muslim country, like we have Muslim law and things like that, but because of this colonization, people have been oppressed and didn't have their chances, and they look at their country and it's in a bad place, and they look at for example the Western world, and they see that it's so advanced. So this Western philosophy has been like literally imposed on us, and we are forgetting our deen, and we're really focused on the dunya, and everyone this mentality that they have to prove themselves that they're worth it, and they indulge in dunya. They want to focus on their work. They forget the deen. Like, you think they're Muslim, but they're not, because they're just Muslim in the outwards. Inside they have the dunya in mind, and the Western philosophy, and they forgot Islam.
Subhanallah. So if you could summarize Western philosophy, how would you summarize it? Would you say it's like, trying to make as much money as possible, live the American dream? What would you say?
Like atheism, like the Western philosophy in general, they don't believe in the afterlife. So they think the purpose of life is to have the most enjoyment and happiness in this life. And their stance on how they can get this happiness is very weird. They think that if they indulge in, for example, in this dunya, they will be happy. So they work a lot. They drink alcohol. Like they listen to music. They indulge in a lot of dunya things. And like for example, like this is supposed to be Kurdistan is supposed to be a Muslim country, right? But alcohol is very prominent. Like I know people who like they indulge in it. They're addicted to it, and you know, it's very very sad when I see like even this affected me, because here's the thing: I'm born a Muslim, right? But I've been practicing like for like a year now. Like I've been getting to this for like a year now. But like before this, like all I thought about was to prove myself. Like, yeah, you know, like I'm here. Like, and like school is, you know, is a way to prove yourself. So all I focused on was like I have to prove myself. I have to work very hard, not to because I enjoyed not for the akhirah, but like very focused on the dunya. So that you forget the akhirah, that you forget God. And I think this is something that's happening. The deen, Islam, is suppressed by the Western philosophy in here, and everyone is focusing on the world. They're forgetting the dunya, and it's mentally in a people. It puts people in a very bad mental state.
Yeah, subhanallah. And I mean, it brings a lot of problems when you factor in atheism, right? Because that was one of the first things you mentioned, the fact that a lot of them are atheists, and if they're not hardcore atheists, they're secularists, which means that they divide religion from, you know, their lifestyle and their laws and their legislations and all that. And this is so problematic for two reasons, subhanallah, because one, it's saying we accept the idea of God, the possibility that God exists, and the possibility of God's law, but we're not going to explore that possibility, even though it's the most important question to man. We're not going to explore that. We're not going to try and find God's law. We're going to make our own. Extremely problematic for that, from that perspective, for that reason. And the second problem that atheism brings is the problem of purpose. Why do you live? Why are you here? Are you really just a bunch of atoms floating around? What is your consciousness? Is it really your soul? You know, do you have a soul? And denying the afterlife is just one aspect of it. They're denying any, you know, objective purpose to this life as well. Everything is just a bunch of atoms floating around, being off each other. SubhanAllah.
They think everything came about randomly. Like they don't see the possibility of a God creating everything. They think everything just came from randomness. But I have like I don't like the idea of randomness. I just don't think it's true. I don't think randomness even a thing, right?
I know what you're talking about, because Faraz Zahabi was talking about what is randomness. So randomness is just our inability to predict what's going to happen, right? And he gave the example of someone playing billiards, right, about to break the little setup, and like he said that if you go to a physicist and you ask him to calculate all like where every ball is going to land and everything on the table, if you tell him how hard you're going to hit it and you give him all the factors, he will tell you where every single one is going to land. But to us, it seems random, right? So if you look at this, like for example, like from God's point of view, even though we could never understand, everything is calculated. God knows exactly what's going to happen, and it's not random. It's all calculated, but we are just too incompetent to know that. And the second problem with the randomness, if it does exist, is Bismillah, if it doesn't slip my mind now. Oh yeah, the second problem is, how does a bunch, like for example, if I were to tell you that I'd spent my entire life doing random things, whatever popped in my head, randomness, I did it, right? You'd probably assume I end up in jail or something like that, or dead, right? Like I'm on top of a building, what if I think of jumping off and I do it, right? Or there's like an old lady in a grocery store and I think of punching her in the face and I do it, right? I'm gonna be in jail, or I'm gonna be, and that was Anghels' example from a while back, mashallah, if you guys remember. But I'd be dead in jail or something. What if I told you I ended up being a philosopher and an Olympus and an astronaut and all this stuff, just doing random things? You'd be like, there's no way in hell, right?
Another thing is like Einstein said, like the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different outcome. Like randomness imposes that if you do the same things, but through randomness, like different outcomes happen. But like I don't think it just happens. Like if you do the same thing the same way, it's gonna come out the same way. Like the outcome is gonna be the same way. So randomness, I just don't see the possibility. And another thing is like, how did like all of this thing suddenly became like, look at this, like all of this light and things, like how did suddenly nothing became all of this? Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
people don't think about it. They don't question the Western philosophy. This is another thing I want to talk about. Like they don't question it. They question Islam, but and they think it's illogical to believe in Islam, but it's not illogical to believe in like these Western philosophies. Like things just came out randomness or something. Like it's so sad. Like to be honest with you.
Yeah, subhanAllah. It is. It really is. Fai, what's up?
Yeah, I was just thinking, y'all know about entropy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
How
everything
everything goes from
to
order to more disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about randomness or entropy, then this dunya wouldn't even exist,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Everything went from
I-
disorder to more order.
Yeah. SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
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 It's also the problem with evolution as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to go into a little bit more about, you don't need to name any specific names, but just people around you and how their lives have changed due to this Western indoctrination and how you witness this firsthand.
Here's the thing, because all their focus and their measurement of success is this dunya, they get very caught up when something bad happens. There's a lot of like relatives I know, something bad happened to them. They got a bad grade, or they don't have money. They have a lot of debt. They don't because they forgot God. Forget God. What happens is that they're going in a very bad rabbit hole. Like they're very depressed, and for example, they don't know that everything is God gives. Like you know what I mean? It's not in your hands, but then because of this Western philosophy, it's like everything is like even like self-help thing. Like you have the control over everything and things like that. They get into a very bad emotional state. Like I've seen them. Like and they forget. Like they might even be practicing Muslim, but because of this Western philosophy, like it just you could not have Western philosophy and Islam at the same time. Just one is going to take over, and in this instance, the Western philosophy is taken over, and so it's very sad. Like they go in a very bad state. Even I was like this. Like I had to always prove that I'm like worth it. You know what I mean? You always, for example, like you don't have that much success as like a 16-year-old, right? But then I always got angry whenever they said like what do you have to bring forward? Like I've always wanted to prove myself, but then as I practice more and I know like wait, this is not life is not about that. Life is not about that. It's just about worshiping God. And so I kind of just detach myself from my ego. You know what I mean? And I don't expect people to praise me or even criticize me. I don't need this anymore because like I'm detached from it. But because of the Western philosophy, they're very detached. Like their ego is like very egocentric. Like if someone thinks of them in a bad way, they're hurt. And if someone is think of them in a good way, they're uplifted. They're happy. But there's a problem in this too. Like they always want praise from other people. Like it's gonna be like drugs. Like they're gonna get a little bit of praise, but then this is not enough. They need more and more and more. So they need to prove themselves even more and more and more, so they can get more praise and praise. And this is sad.
Man, subhanAllah, everything you're saying right now is just normal here. All these things that you're telling me that you're shocked about entering your country, that's all normal here, right? So it's like, it's weird that you're even talking about these things. And to us, if we're not woke or practicing Islam, we don't even notice it. Like people are out here, going to parties, drinking, doing dumb-ish just to prove themselves, or, working 60, 70 hours a week. I'm not saying you shouldn't work, but they're just identifying with it. They're forgetting Allah. They're forgetting that the money is coming from Allah too.
Yeah, this is a problem. Like should not happen to a Muslim country. Like they're all Muslim. Like they have to have this mentality. Like they have to learn about Islam. Like they know Islam and they practice and they're righteous. Like this Western philosophy should not be like an issue. Like this should not be an issue. Like where I'm like seeing people they're all like in this like a very bad state. Like but because this Western philosophy is everywhere, it's spreading very very everywhere, like very rapidly, and it's sad. Like if you go back when I see my grandpa and things like that, Islam was more here. Like these were not problems. Like but then I see like even in the social media and things like that, people are trying to prove themselves, and it's very for me when you say like a Muslim country, I don't think this should happen, but like it's spreading. Like this is an issue we should discuss. Like, why is this Western philosophy is like spreading everywhere? It shouldn't happen. Like, in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you all seen this video of the Nigerian president talking to the BBC reporter or CNN?
Yeah. About
she was basically telling him like why are you guys homophobic? Why do you guys not want to promote homosexuality now that in your country, right? And you got the guy just saying we don't want that in our country. It's not the fact that we're against it or we're not against it. It's the fact that it's not our way, and we don't want to impose this Western thing. And then you know what she said? She looked at him and she's like, "You're gonna get in a lot of trouble for saying that." Like, bro, who are you, bro? And like the most liked comment on that video was some like Western guy too, and he was writing like the West needs to stop imposing their philosophy into their system. So I was gonna ask you my question. Has there been any changes in the school system and what they're pushing?
So, alhamdulillah, I learned like I can't even got into more Islam because we have just like a subject for religion, and the only religion we learn is Islam, and it's so weird. Like it feels like a khutbah, and the teacher comes in and just talks about it, and I kind of just like when my teacher spoke in the class, I kind of my iman kind of here's the thing. I've always believed in God. My fitra have been like very good. My dad, my mom taught me like that God exists and things like that. But I was not practicing. But when this happened, so I became more Muslim. But here's the thing: we don't have this Western philosophy imposed on us in this way, but more so on through the media. Through the media, it's imposed on us, and through social media. Not in school. I don't think it's school system in Kurdistan is not that good, to be honest with you. Like we don't like we're not even studying. Like I passed half of my school just randomly, not randomly.
Randomly.
Randomly, yeah. Skip like because we even had like the ISIS war and things like that. The education ministry kind of like said if you have passed the first semester, you passed the whole year. And so like my sister like literally like have not studied as much as like a first grader in America. Like so yeah, the education system is not really that good in Kurdistan. So yeah, but these problems are still here, like through the social media and through social media and TV channels. Like this has been imposed on us.
Yeah, what are they imposing?
Like the worldly life things, especially music. Music is there's a song by this Kurdish singer. It just says "Baida," which means just shake it. Like in this the whole song is about why are they like limiting you? Like you're free. Like you should do everything. Like through media, through social media, through songs, and like this is a Muslim country, right? But music's everywhere, like literally.
Anghel, what's on your mind?
Well, first off, man, for a 16-year-old, this is it's pretty amazing, mashallah. At 16 years old, I was a giant, so you have my respect for that. But it's just crazy, like you're saying all these things, and like I'm not trying to like bring it. I'm not trying to like make it less of what you're saying, but it really is like something that it's just like we see it on a day-to-day basis over here in the West. Like I've seen it since I was a little kid, brother. Like there was music, there was all this stuff being portrayed since the beginning. Like over here, there really is no talk about God. And if there is, it's about Jesus Christ being God, which stuff for Allah, but that's not right. But I don't know, man. I guess it is pretty crazy now that it's getting over there to the Muslim countries. Like you wouldn't think it would be over there.
Yeah.
Go on, Heli. Mike is like scratching against the.
The problem is like we have a lot of masjid. Like mosques and whatnot. But the problem is with imams, like they don't teach us. They don't teach us. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I learned to pray when I was 15. Like, this is really sad to live in a Muslim country, born Muslim, but not know how to pray till you're 15. I wish like they taught us more. Like, not just like hide away the Western philosophy, but like show the truth. Why the Western philosophy is not what it is, and like why is Islam the truth? Like, they don't teach us this. It's brushed. Like, here's the thing: if you're like a little bit religious and you have like a little beard and you have your pants above your ankle, they make fun of you. Like, they say, oh, he's Salafi, and it's very sad to want to like practice your religion, but then in a Muslim country, but they make fun of you. I don't think it should happen. Like, but here's the thing: there's a cure for this, and it's just to teach. And here's the thing: I kind of, it's like arrogance. It's because of arrogance, and if you teach, if you learn, this arrogance is gonna go away, and hopefully, like, this is gonna happen. Like, more teens are going to learn about Islam and all this thing, and for the next generation, like, this arrogance is gonna be less and decrease.
Inshallah. Arya, tell me this one thing. Let me know if this is infiltrating in Kurdistan. It's gonna be a quick question, bro. So Anghel can go in right after.
He's got a question.
So Bismillah. There's this Western idea that you can't marry young, or you shouldn't be married young. You shouldn't tie down young. You should wait till you're done living your life, blah blah blah, till you're 30, 40, even whatever. You got single people till 50. But here, people have, girlfriend, boyfriend, they're dating from 12, 13. Bro, I know 10-year-olds that have girlfriends. So it's like, bro, people want, to have a partner. I'm not saying, every 10-year-old should, do the do, but I'm saying it's going to happen here anyway because they're going to go dating and whatever. So I don't get this whole taboo in the West about marriage when people are going to be dating from 12, 13 in middle school. So is this weird backwards concept in the East now?
So it's developing. So here's the thing: one generation before, my mom and dad. So my mom was 18 when she married, and my dad was 21. But now my mom is telling me and my sister to marry till like we're 30 to see the world and whatnot. And this is not something we learn in Islam. It's just totally something from the Western world. But then it's I don't know how this happened. Like, it affected my mom, and that now it's kind of coming on to us. Like, but I don't believe in that. Like marry in a young age should not be a problem. But then it's kind of developing, like, this idea, and more and more people, like, even for example, my uncle kind of married when he was like 26 or something. Like, very late in his life. Like, it's kind of like developing. It's kind of developing. Like, I hope we can stop this right now, because if we don't, it's going to be we're going to be worse than the American Western world. I don't want this to happen to like a Muslim country, because this is a Muslim country. Like, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm. Making me feel old, bro. I'm 27. I'm not married.
No. It's okay in America, but like,
yeah, I know what you mean, but but question for you, man: why do you think it's getting to that point?
Oh, arrogance. Like, and another thing is, like, we see ISIS like portrayed in a, like, here's the ISIS has nothing to do with Islam, but then the media like give so much power to ISIS, be like, oh, it's a Muslim force, but it's not, and people are staying away from Islam because of they see the shiny new object is Western philosophy. Like, they're seeing how through the internet they see like everyone, like in America, how they're living and how open they are and whatnot, and they think they're so they're happy, and like they're steering from Islam, and they're moving toward this Western philosophy, and it's so sad. Like, and another thing is like arrogance, as I said. They're steering from Islam and going toward the Western philosophies. And another thing is, like, Muslims are being portrayed as bad, and this is like it's so important to be a good Muslim, because if you're not, people are going to see Islam as a bad way, as a backward way, right? and especially like if you're not a good Muslim, they're gonna be like, is that Islam? And they're gonna move away. They're gonna be turned off by this idea, and they're gonna search for alternative. And Western philosophy is everywhere, and so it's like it's like migrants. They just go there. So it's very important to be a good Muslim.
Yeah, man. There's even Muslims in the West here imposing this like sugar-coated, more liberalized, westernized version of Islam because they're afraid that if we tell our, 2 cents and speak our truth, that we're going to be deemed extremists and we're going to be deemed like, this is so backwards or so, different from status quo. And it's a shame because, all these, reformers or, people that try to change Islam and try to like, nullify it, it's people are losing the message of Islam. Like I have literally people like tweeting stuff like, oh, just because I don't pray, just because I don't drink, just because I don't believe in Allah, doesn't mean I'm not a Muslim. Bro, what?
What?
Makes no sense, right? I don't know what I'm talking about, but man, if there's anything else, man, let it be known.
Yeah, be a good Muslim. Don't let this Western philosophy attain you, so like affect you. Know the truth, know what life is really about, and study Islam. Just the only way to turn away from arrogance is to learn, and it's very important. And never stop learning, never stop moving forward. Yeah,
inshallah. I want everyone today in the comment section, if you made it this far, write down hashtag bring back Arya, because we need brother Arya again for part 2. But also when you guys make some salat today, make some special dua for brother Arya for continuing to speak his truth in this time of chaos. And inshallah ta'ala, you have a bigger platform one day to get this message across, and you continue telling people the truth, because the truth has enemies. And today you are different than those around you today, even though you are following the straight path. So don't let that ever change you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, and keep doing your thing, brother, because at 16, like I said, man, mashallah.
Thank you.
Inshallah, bro. I mean,
all right, subhanallah. With that being said, all right, good, he's back, alhamdulillah. With that being said, may Allah bless you all, and let this be a lesson to ourselves and to yourselves. Don't fall for it. Wake up to it. Go back to Islam. Go back to Allah. Because at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you will be brought back to your Lord, and you will be held accountable for what you did, and you will not be able to blame anyone else. With that being said, Allahumma atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A lot of people have this misconception that, once I feel closer to God, then I'm going to start practicing. It's backwards. You won't feel close to God until you start practicing. The Prophet ﷺ, there's a hadith Qudsi where he says that the most beloved acts of worship to God are those which he made obligatory. The person continues to get closer and closer to Allah. Key point, gets closer and closer by voluntary acts of good. So like sunnah, things, for the sake of Allah, things that are not obligatory, but you do them just to please Allah, until Allah begins to love the person. So 2 things. You want to feel close to Allah. You want Allah to love you. Do what Allah prescribes for you, which is fard. So praying, fasting, hajj, zakat, and ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And then on top of that, sunnah prayers, sunnah fasts, giving extra in charity, to the point where Allah will inshallah begin to love you.